Welcome back, everybody. We have two special guests today. This is Marilyn and Kate. They are puppy raisers for a nonprofit organization called Canine Companions. They actually raised my pup Azul. The goal of Canine Companions is to improve the quality of life for people with disabilities and whatnot. So today I'm going to be asking Marilyn and Kate their experience, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'd love to ask you guys, when y'all first started, like, what was the application process like?
So I started becoming a puppy raiser in 2018, and the puppy who is at the house right now is my fifth puppy that I've raised. Azul is the fourth puppy that I've raised. And it was a pretty simple process in 2018. I simply filled out an application. The Irving South Central region called me in and had a short conversation with me. And then they sent out a mentor who is still my mentor to look at the house and make sure it was puppy proof and the fence was okay. And I'm sure they were trying to get another set of eyes on my personality and temperament also. But I probably am sure that it has changed since 2018.
What would you say is like a typical day like raising a puppy?
Wow, it really varies so much because they grow and they change so quickly. But when you first get a puppy, and usually it comes in on a plane, you go to the airport and pick it up, and day one, you start by teaching them their name. That's the very first thing, and reinforcing that. And then at feeding time, which happens 3 times a day when they're that small, you feed them 1 kibble at a time, and you reinforce eye contact and their name. And so just feeding alone takes a big part of your day. And then the first few weeks at night, it's like having a newborn, and you're up several times a night to let them out, to start reinforcing crate training and house training, potty training. And so a typical day in the first few weeks is very busy and takes a lot of energy. And then as they grow, then it's a little less intense, but still it's like having an ordinary dog, but then there are also the disciplines that you're also teaching them, starting to teach commands. And then you're taking them, eventually you introduce them to going out in the community, whether you're taking them to the store or to, as in Marilyn's case, to work at high school. And there's a lot of questions and opportunities to share about Canine Companions and service dogs in general. So I would say, again, it varies depending on the age, which changes really rapidly, and there's never a day that's exactly like. There are also days when you'll say, oh my gosh, this dog is never going to make it as a service dog. And then there are days where you're like, this is the smartest dog in the world.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, yeah, it's really amazing.
Right, and I do take each of my dogs to high school every day. I teach English at a local high school, and so they go through the entire day with me every single day. And during my conference periods, I let them go to the bathroom, go run around a little bit. It's typical that every student on campus knows the dog's name. Fewer know my name. And the typical exchange down the hall is, hi, Azul, or hi, Peony. Oh, hi, Miss Whitney.
Right.
That's normal for me, and that's okay. But I have students who come in who don't have me as a teacher, and they just need dog therapy. And they sit down and cuddle with the dog for a while and then go about their day. And I have admin who come by and just need to cuddle with the dog for a while and then continue with their day. So it helps all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine that is really helpful for students. What grade do you teach?
Seniors.
Okay. Yeah, they need it more than anybody.
Yes.
They're ready to get out of there.
They are.
What basic obedience commands do you focus on teaching the puppy?
We are tasked with teaching them about 30 commands. before they turn in for matriculation. And some of those commands are no and name. So, I mean,
The first ones.
those are the first two. But most of the commands are meant to build upon, so the trainers in professional training can use what we have taught and take it to a different level. So, for example, your dog was taught to do up on a wall and basically just put two paws on the wall. The intention was as soon as she gets to professional training, they can transfer that to flipping on a light. One of the commands that we teach is out, and it's intended, it makes no sense for a person who is able-bodied, but basically if a doorway is narrow, teaching the dog to go out through the doorway first, turn around and sit and look at me, so that a person in a wheelchair, if it's tight, they can send the dog out. They know the dog will wait for them and then continue on.
Yeah. Yeah, Azul is really good at that because I've taken her out a couple places and it's been tight and I'm like, Azul, wait, and she's so good at it, she waits. She's like, I'm not getting my toes under that. I will wait.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, another command too is like touch is one that we teach, but that's easily transferred to hitting the button to open the automatic doors or the light switch. So yeah, to your point, we teach a lot of the foundational commands that build on other things in professional training.
Yeah. Yeah, just the basic foundation.
Yeah.
What are the key behaviors that Canine Companions looks for in a well-trained puppy?
In our knowledge, because I don't think I've ever seen an exhaustive list of what they look for, but after being in the program for a few years, what I think I understand that they look for are first and foremost dogs that are attentive and connect to their human, that are responsive. I know that they want the dogs to have a connection, but not to the point where they're so connected with their human that they won't listen to anyone else. So in class, sometimes we change dogs during the puppy raising process just to see, will this dog take commands from another person as well? I think they look for dogs that are calm, and yet you don't want one that's too calm because they need to show a strong desire to work and to perform their tasks. So I think there's a foundation of intelligence, connection to people, and a desire to work.
Yeah.
And Canine Companions is really good about not giving a job to a dog who doesn't want to do that job.
That's right.
They work really hard to match the job to the personality of the dog. For example, in puppy class yesterday, there was a really big dog, and initially they thought that the dog would be a wheelchair dog. And the dog just didn't like to be around wheelchairs.
Yeah.
But this dog is an amazing hearing dog and really facilitates that client, that person, and helps them out, you know, in the car, in the store, at her job. And it's just amazing to see because that job is something that that dog really wanted to do.
Yeah.
His favorite thing, I think, is when someone speaks his person's name, he just loves to go body slam her and say, hey, they're saying your name. And then he points to the person who said her name. Yeah,
that
it's
is
so cool
so cute. What, is it a lab too?
She was a lab golden cross.
Black lab, yeah. Golden cross, yeah.
That's awesome. And that's interesting too, that maybe I feel like too, like not having expectations, you know, that maybe this dog that we think may be suited for this is better suited for something else.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right. And if a dog doesn't want to do a job, they let the dog just be a dog.
Yeah.
And so we release probably 40 to 50% of our dogs because they just aren't quite suited for the job that we need them to do. And they go to great loving homes and they get a well-trained dog who is a great friend and pet for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. So. I love that. What are the biggest challenges that y'all faced while raising a service dog?
Hmm.
Service puppy.
Beyond the shark teeth of
Yes.
the first 3-ish months, and I have scars on my hands. This one right here is your dog's scar.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Beyond that,
That's better than a tattoo.
right, it is better than a tattoo. The other scar is the current dog.
Yes.
But anyway, the hardest thing is figuring out what makes them tick. So, what motivated your dog and what made her be obedient and want to work is very different than the dog we're raising right now. And a skill that your dog may have seen as so simple, our dog currently might see it as kind of challenging. So we always have to rethink how we're teaching commands. What works best for the dog? What are they struggling with? How can we motivate the dog? So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of program, just like it's not one-size-fits-all for human children.
I think they're doing circles
We
around.
can hear them doing laps.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what that was.
That's great.
Earthquake. But that makes sense, you know, that each dog's gonna have a different temperament, you know, and learn at different paces. So how does one manage the emotional aspect of giving up the puppy for professional training?
Wow, that's really one of the hardest parts.
Yeah.
Because we liken it to raising a child and sending them off to college.
Yeah.
And we get so attached in such a short amount of time, and taking them from this little bundle at 8 weeks to about a year and a half old in their life, and then taking them to puppy college. It's heart-wrenching because we don't know if we'll ever see them again. We were really fortunate in that you live very close in
Yeah.
our metroplex,
Okay.
but they could go anywhere in the country. I mean, yes, most likely the South Central region, but still it could be hours away or in a different state, and we may
Yeah.
never get to see them again. And so that's really hard. At turn-in, there are a lot of tears, and we know that we do this because it's so important to us to do good in this world, to do something that will positively
Yeah.
impact someone's life. And that's why we do it over and over again. So yeah, it's hard, and it's so richly rewarding at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We know at the beginning that it will be hard
Mhm.
giving our dog up.
Yeah.
And we still cry.
Yes.
Yeah.
We set aside the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend. We have no plans. We have lots of Kleenex. We plan comforting activities for the family, and it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it's part of it. But we just like we raise our kids to be successful in college and be an adult and
Right.
launch them into the world.
Mhm.
That's exactly what we do with our pets.
It is.
Yeah. Well, I'm so thankful for y'all and people that do this work, because it's such a selfless thing to do for humanity, and those in my position, you know, that really value having such a smart dog. You know, she's so smart and so helpful. And I was just telling you guys earlier, you know, it's y'all trained her so well that when I drop my phone, she just goes and gets it and brings it to me without me even having to give her the command. It's just such a blessing. So, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of being a puppy raiser?
Sitting here and talking to you
Yeah.
and seeing how much
Absolutely.
Azul has changed your life in just a few short months.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so rewarding, to see the change that our pups make in people's lives. Or, as in the case of my first dog, the change that she has made in the school's life that she works at. And to watch our friends in the Lone Star chapter and to hear about their successes, and we celebrate with them, and just having that network of other puppy raisers. It is a different kind of family that we have created with all of the puppy raisers.
Yeah.
We support each other, cry with each other, but it's just so rewarding when we watch your pup pull open the refrigerator and pick up your phone and the smile that she brings to your face. And
Yeah.
man, that just makes us so happy.
It does.
Cool.
Yeah. And I think even during the process of raising the puppies, there are so many other moments where they're unplanned, maybe being out in the community because we're training the
Yes.
dog how to stand in line quietly at the bank or whatever the case may be. And someone asks about the dog and they've never heard of Canine Companions before. They might have someone in their family, or maybe they themselves could benefit from a service dog, and we get to tell them about the program and how to apply. Or maybe every day at school, the way that the pups are able to provide comfort or brighten someone's day. Or at church, there are kids at church that are neurodiverse and that just absolutely love the pups when they bring them in. We let them sit on the floor and cuddle and just get some positive stimulation and comfort from the dogs. So all of those moments also string together to create something really special and rewarding every day.
Absolutely. Ah, I love that. And you know, back to I want to circle back to y'all saying that how awesome that we live in the vicinity of one another, because I know that, like you said, you know, not everybody lives by their puppy raiser, and I think it's such a blessing and not a coincidence that I happen to be not too far from y'all. So I wish that y'all could stay in touch with every puppy you raise, but you definitely will with Azul. So
Thank you.
I guess my last question for you guys is, what advice would y'all give to someone considering being a puppy raiser for Canine Companions?
Very rarely in our lives do we get to see a direct way that our actions change somebody's life. Yes, I get to see it in the job I do teaching school, but most of our jobs, I know your job does, but most of our jobs, we don't get to see a direct connection how you change somebody's life. We see this every single day that we get to change a person's life. And you don't, as far as advice, I would say you don't have to do it all alone. We have a network of people and experts who want to help. And all you have to do is pick up the phone and ask. We have multiple opportunities to enter volunteering on several levels. If they just want to bathe puppies once a month for dogs who are in professional training, great, we need those people. We like to go on vacation without our dogs and not have to puppy raise 365 days a year. So we need volunteer weekend raisers, puppy sitters who will take our dogs so we can have some time off. And then puppy raising, of course, is an opportunity. Yes, it's a 24/7 job, but it is such a rewarding job to change somebody's life.
Absolutely, I agree. And I would say one of the things that would be advice I would give to people who have had dogs their whole lives, but they go into puppy raising. There are some things that, yes, you will intuitively know. It's good if they have a basic understanding of how to give great care to a dog, but all breeds are not equal. And prior to Canine Companions and raising puppies, I had stock dogs, so working cattle dogs, and a lot of the things that I thought would cross over don't necessarily. And I felt like sometimes relearn how to train a dog, and that's okay, because to Marilyn's point, there's a lot of support.
Yeah.
And if people have never raised a puppy, I also say, don't be intimidated by that. To Marilyn's point, there's a nationwide network. Every chapter has puppy raising groups and the opportunity to help each other out and to learn from each other. And one of the things that Marilyn mentioned too is becoming a puppy sitter is a great way to kind of dip your toe in the water and see if it's right for you by just helping out and taking care of puppies for a weekend or a couple weeks while people are on vacation. So yeah, those were some of the things I think that are just the most important to highlight.
Yeah.
Check it out, see if it's for you.
Yeah, I love that. I was actually going through my Canine Companion paperwork the other day, and I came across a sheet that talked about, if you want to go on vacation and need someone to watch, your pup. Of course, I would ask y'all first, but
Yes.
I would love to, I feel like I would take her just about anywhere except for a concert, I don't want to take her to a place that's going to be really like loud like that. But
Right. Well, Azul has been through fire drills with 2,000 students. So
yeah.
pep rallies,
Yes.
she's pretty competent.
And I know you said you took her on an airplane, right?
Mhm, yes. And she was a rock star.
Yes.
Yes, she was a rock star. Even though she was only, 10-ish months, 11
Yeah.
months.
Okay.
She was still not fully trained at that point.
Right.
But kudos to Southwest Airlines. They always let CC pups come on in training. And that is, we are so grateful to them.
Yeah, that's huge.
It
Yeah.
is.
I love that. I wanted to ask you guys, y'all were talking about just having a lot of support doing this. In what ways do you feel like Canine Companions has been supportive of what y'all are doing for the organization?
I think they do so much to create a positive presence in the community. Recently, I think it was last year sometime, they had a campaign. They partnered with one of the local TV affiliates to name a puppy, so they get a lot of visibility and awareness. So first and foremost, by just creating awareness in the community, not even about Canine Companions, but service dogs in general, and then about their program, but then also the support in terms of even if we have a veterinary related question, then we can pick up the phone and call the program manager of puppy raising, and he's always responsive and helpful. The network, again, of the Lone Star chapter of Puppy Raisers is also supportive and helpful. And even on a very emotional level and relational level, when someone is turning in a dog at matriculation, whoever is able to either get off work or plans their schedule accordingly, they will come, even if their dog is not graduating or matriculating, just to support us because they know how emotional that is. So we celebrate those wins together. If a puppy graduates, the same thing, they try to come to support during graduation. We celebrate successes and the losses too, and it's really a beautiful thing. Yeah.
I would agree. Well, I so appreciate you guys coming on, and I wanted to shed light on this part of what it's like to have a service dog. I think a lot of people aren't, aware of all the work that goes into bringing all of this to fruition, and it wouldn't be possible without people like y'all. So I do appreciate it. And we will always be in touch for life. So I don't plan on moving out of this great state of Texas. Anyway, so thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you for having us.
Happy birthday, Azul!